Welcome back, guys, to the Beyond Condition podcast, the voice of bodybuilding. I'm your host, Sarah Parker, and today I have someone that I met in real life, guys, this year. Christian James joins us, and I want to give a little bit of a preface to the episode of when we met. But welcome, first of all, and thank you for your time.
No, thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.
It's going to be ace. Now, the preface, the conversation we had, we actually started talking about, prep, bodybuilding, as you do when you meet people in the space. And what I loved, and this is why I feel like this is going to be an incredibly valuable lesson for the listeners and our community, is you're very straight talking, you play it how it is, and we are very much advocates of what bodybuilding was and trying to gear it in the direction that essentially brings in the true bodybuilding, what we always knew it as, because of course we're in 2025, there's a lot of social media, there's a lot of pressure, and we can say it how it is. Now, of course, when we were speaking about it, it's like, for me, it's super refreshing to speak to people that understand what bodybuilding can bring and what, I guess, the direction it's going at times to actually resonate properly and just be able to talk in real talk. You know what I mean? It's hard sometimes in this space, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people will just go along with the flow and on the bandwagon as well, and not. They might think something in private and say it in private, but they don't put it out there, which is fine because they have their own reasons too, and they don't want to be like judged and especially if they're competitive. And again, I can totally understand that as well. But we've all got opinions, and whether people don't like them or do like them, it's irrelevant really a lot of the time. Um, I'm very much free speech type of person, and I don't. I think people should just be themselves, and if they have an opinion, that's great, but it doesn't mean you have to take that opinion on board a lot of the time. It just seems a lot for all the good that bodybuilding has done for myself personally and yourself and so many others. There is another side to it, and that's unfortunate. It seems to be a bit of a narcissistic sport. Well, we step on stage pretty much naked, so it's inevitable, isn't it, to a degree? Um, so yeah, it's good to touch upon all these areas.
Yeah, I feel like, when I say about real talk and real people in the space, it's, you know, as you said there, that's gold. Bodybuilding has brought us so much. So when we look, and you listen to the pod, you know my stance on it. When we look at bodybuilding as a whole, ideally it's going to bring something good to your life, right? Like this is going to be a pursuit of mindset, of depths that you've never been before. As you say, we're going to stage and we're pretty much half naked on the stage. There's so many things here that accumulate into personal growth. So, learning to even train hard, tracking your food, doing things that people outside of this have no clue about. So it gives us this like almost superpower and this gift to be like, yeah, cool, I'm doing this. But then there's absolutely the negative side of it where, people are slagging it off. People are not happy that they didn't win the show. People are having bad experiences with coaches. Like there's a list that goes on
Mm.
and on and on. And this is where it's hard. I'm like, it puts a bad name on bodybuilding, but the actual bodybuilding is not, generally speaking, the problem. It's
No.
external factors, or perhaps your past as well, or who you
Mm.
surround yourself with.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. That's absolutely spot on. Yeah. But I mean, I try not to let anything negative in my space at all anymore. Those days are long, long gone. And the more, if I experience that, then those people aren't part of my life. I'll always get it, especially now, like with doing what I'm doing. But that's fine. I can cope with that because that's my job, so to speak. But personal wise, yeah, I don't want to entertain it anymore. You're either on board or you're not. It's as simple as that, really. I don't want to be dragged down by negativity or anyone else, and that's not what this space is about anymore. You
Yeah.
know. So, which is I think is a good thing for people. I mean, the bodybuilding can give you so much as well if you look at it in the right way. It crosses over to all parts of your life, and it teaches you so many things in a good way, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Because we actually, when we spoke in person, we said, what we get from the depths of prep, not everyone experiences because, again,
No.
they're past, they're people around it. But we're
Mhm.
we're in that camp of like, whoa, this is savage, but I am here for it. Now, of course,
Yeah, and it is savage, and I was like, this is just something I say to people that it's funny when they say, "Oh, I've been all right." No, I was all right on prep, and I think, well, yeah, because you weren't in condition. That's why you were all right. There's levels to this game, and those people that have been in that place know how, I don't want to say horrible, but how difficult it is, like each day,
Hmm.
you know, and, respect to anyone that steps on that stage, but more respect to someone who gets absolutely conditioned inside out, because I know, we know what it takes to get there. So, fair play.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's gonna either bring out a mindset in you that you didn't know you had. So you're like, whoa, I'm doing this thing. But also, there's elements of what you're doing it for, of course. Is it more I want to go on the journey, I want to step on stage, I want to see where I fare, and then you see if you're going to pursue it, which I think is a good space to be in if you're a first timer, because
Yeah.
how do we know if we want to pursue it and pour money, life, everything else into it unless we do the thing? But then there's this and I feel like there needs to be a level of ownership to go, okay, so if I am going to pursue competitive bodybuilding, there's got to be this openness. And you hear people, I'll do whatever it takes, but they haven't been at those depths that you just described. So how do you know?
Yeah, exactly. They don't know until you get there. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not
Yeah,
something you
it's
can
so
really
true.
teach. Is
No,
it?
no, no, it's not. Well, no, and that's why it's important, in my opinion, to have a coach that has been there and done it, or at least someone that's like partner-wise by your side that's been there and done it. It does help. It does help because they can help you and support you along the way. Yeah, so things like that help massively in that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you touched on it a little bit, but you didn't give the full disclosure. You are, of course, taking the UKDFBA into 2026, and we have, bits of what we've spoken about there with what you're doing with the federation. Now, as I said to you in a message, this is not me arse licking you. I've always seen UKDFBA. I don't, sometimes you just have this I've always seen X, and I'm not 100% sure why, but I've always seen them as the higher echelons of natural bodybuilding. And,
Mm.
from when I started out, and I know some of the judges, some of the athletes that have done well with your federation. So perhaps it's that, subconsciously, but I've always viewed the federation as, the top of the game for natural athletes. Now, maybe we could talk a little bit about your desires, your hopes for 2026 and what you're looking to do with the federation now you are running it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first of all, massive thanks to Lee for running it for the last 15 years. It's some undertaking and some task and some job, and I'm finding this out as I go along now. It's a lot of work, you know, um, in a good way. It's stressful for me in a good way. It keeps you busy. It is non-stop. It's how you program your mind to go, is this good or is this overwhelming? If it's a passion that you love doing, then I'm all here for it, and that's my goal for the next season. Um, I'm one of those people I like to get things done early, so everyone knows where they stand going forward. I don't leave things till last minute, and that's the way I think it should be run. I'm not, by any means, I've got big shoes to fill with Lee. He's like been promoting shows for 30 years. So he's retired on his 30th year of promoting shows, which is insanely good for someone at the top levels as well. So yeah, following in his footsteps and like being mentored by him along the way. I mean, I first got into the UKDFBA from day one. It was myself and Lee that started the federation off 15 years ago. Just from a phone call one evening, he rang me and said, "Oh, I think there's a gap in the market. What are you thinking?" And I just said, "Let's do it." And
Wow.
that conversation of "Let's do it" turned into 15 years later and
Oh,
where we are now.
love that.
And I'm still a competitive athlete, believe it or not. Um, and I think, like you touched on there, saying the UKDFBA is the level. Again, I'm like yourself. I'm very, very honest to a fault, but I'm not saying we're the best, they're the best. To me, it doesn't matter. Everyone's different, and different's good. You know, I do believe that regarding the standard of natural bodybuilding, our federation is the highest. And I don't just say it willy-nilly, or I believe that through what I've seen firsthand over so many years, and that a lot of athletes will say that, whether or not they say it to me privately, in person, or not necessarily online, because fear of backlash, which is understandable. But I think they do know that. And this is not putting any other natural federation down in the slightest. They're all great at what they do in their own individual right. But I think when it comes to our qualifiers and our finals and the teams and things like that, the winners, tend to go abroad and then do well and win European and world titles and pro cards. And the other federations, they'll go and compete with them. They may win their class or place high in those British finals, but then they came to us like during the season or the week before, didn't make top five, and then they'll go and win a British qualifier or a world title with another federation, and you're like, well, okay, you didn't place in ours. There's levels to the sport, naturally or assisted, and it's people saying, "Oh, I'm the best." Well, are you? Because you didn't win our show, but then you went and won another show, but those people that beat you weren't there.
Mhm.
So how do you figure out who is the best, so to speak? And I think when people want to actually try and be the best, they'll come to us to try and win a UKDFBA qualifier or a final, or because they do know it's very, very difficult. You've got to be something special, and that's always been the case over the years, and I'll stand by that. And again, like I say, it's not this. I'm not putting any other federation down in the slightest. They're all great. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's an undertaking, and it's something I'm really, really looking forward to. And there's a lot more coming that I've not announced yet. That people obviously, I'm sure they know that I'm working in the background, constantly doing things, putting things together behind the scenes, and then these things will get announced as we go along, weekly, monthly. But everything will be in place well before the first show. Like I said to you earlier, the website's been redone. That's being worked on this month as we speak. And that will be launched on the 1st of January with entries going to be open. And
Nice.
that's going to be a whole new website for people to navigate and enter and like learn. And all the rules, regulations, criteria, everything's updated. It's all going to be on there, which is going to be a massive part of the federation going forwards.
Mhm.
I've got the whole team are already in place, already. The judges are already all been decided, already in place. All these announcements are going to be going forward, and all the athletes will know in advance exactly what's happening and what's going to be coming for them. So, yeah, it's going to be a very, very big season. I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest. New venues, new stages, new sponsors. Yeah, it's all to come. New opportunities for the athletes as well. I'm working behind the scenes again with other affiliates to take teams abroad to the best shows. So that's something else that they can look forward to as well as turning professional with
Mhm.
us at the last shows of the year. I brought the qualifiers back, which I think is really important because it's, you've got to be of a standard and a level as well to
Yeah.
go to the British final. It's not just an open one anymore. So that helps because then you've made it for a reason. So
Yes.
then the best of the best will fight it out at the end of the year. Yeah. So
I love
yeah.
that. Like that bit in itself gets me going because again, this is not to discourage or talk negatively about anyone. It's never about that. But I personally believe when I started to win, qualifiers and then I'd be going to the finals, and I feel like you'll resonate here as well. As an athlete, if you're qualifying for the finals, you could be qualifying in like season A as it were. So say April, May. The finals could be October. Now, I believe as athletes we have decisions to make. We're already pouring a lot into this and it is labeled an extreme sport for a reason. So to qualify here in sort of April, to warrant extending your prep to go to the finals, I feel like that plays a part. But also, if you're stepping on stage with the best of the best, I remember the first time I qualified and did that and won the finals. As an athlete, you're there going, like this is the best of the best in the UK. I
Mm,
then earned the right for a start to be on the stage, and you're already like, whoa, I'm at the British finals. If you then win that, it's like it's just what an
mm.
achievement of a sporting career, but it just hits different compared to, of course, there are federations that invite top eight at every single
Yeah, I never understand that. We know a lot of the time it's a financial, isn't it? It's like,
time.
it's just for profit. All eight can qualify for it. It's just so they get more money coming in, more people in the audience with their family and friends coming to watch. Again, is more revenue for ticket sales, but they're not of the standard the way they should be being invited to a British. And the way I'm going to do it is the old school way of doing it. I might get 10 people in a class, for example,
Nice.
and only the winner is of a British standard. So only they will go, and I'll decide that as head judge and say, British finalist, that person can qualify. But what about the top three? There was 10 of us. Yeah, but unfortunately, you didn't meet the standard, in my opinion.
Oh,
And the next class comes out, and there might be 10 in that. But then the top six might be insane. So guess what? All six will get invited.
Mhm, mhm,
It's not just a set rule of right, only the top three. You can't decide that until those people come out. And that's the way it should be. You do it, use your brain,
mm,
do it
mm,
logically. There's no set numbers. So I think that's the best way going forward, personally. I mean, some federations do it differently. I've seen it all the time, but everyone's different, and that's up to them. That's their prerogative.
mm,
Um, it doesn't affect me. What other associations and federations do doesn't affect me or my federation going forward. We all watch each other because that's just normal. It's real life. You pick up things that they do well, things that they don't do so well, and then you make sure that that's fed into what you're doing. And
mm,
that's the key to this, really, in my opinion, for running the business and doing what's best for the athletes. And that's what I'm trying to do, is do best for what, I still compete, so I know what I want when I step on stage, and I know what the guys and girls will want when they step on stage too.
mm,
And the other thing, like you've seen recently on my Instagram, is working together if you can. Don't try and fight each other because it never gets you anywhere. It's just bad feeling, doesn't work. So make that effort to speak to each other, communicate, and not be fighting, because what good does that do for anybody? It doesn't. It only affects yourselves and it affects the athletes. And that's what you want. You want to be together, build together. Some associations won't have it, and that's fine. That's on them.
yeah.
But I'll I will try and do the opposite and make everyone. Natural bodybuilding is not the biggest industry. The assisted side is huge. So if I can do something to bring natural bodybuilders together, then I will do everything I can in my power to do that.
Mm, mm,
And that's my goal going forwards. The same as with AJ with the MBW, our last show of the season. That was an insane show last year. It was anyone that saw the highlights of it all and competed, and it was, and that's our last one of the season. So, yeah, that's got our British finals, and then 2 or 3 weeks later is the MBW, and that's the goal for the natural athletes, in my opinion. It's good, yeah, it's going to be crazy. So that's the goal for people. That's where you should be aiming for the next year, for 2026, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. I feel like this will feed into a bit where I said to, where you're gearing for natural bodybuilding. This will feed into, hopefully, knocking off the sort of entitlement of, well, I placed top three, so I should be a British finalist. I've done this, so I should get. What can be a little bit upsetting for me in this space. Again, it's not, I don't need to involve myself with it as it were, but as an athlete, as someone that has come from, I'm almost like a bit of an underdog Christian. I had to
Mm.
work for it and work
Yeah.
and work and work. What I like is that ties into what we started the episode with. I know from that day one of becoming a bodybuilder and saying I'm going to compete, I've had to work my arse off day in, day out for years and years and years. We're 13 years in now, but it adds so much then to then
Mm.
you step on stage at your best, knowing you've done everything, because
Mm.
you're not feeling entitled, you're not feeling like, oh, I should get. It's like, I believe we should have more people stepping on stage going, I haven't missed a beat here, because that does not happen. It doesn't. And I understand things come up in prep, guys. I understand
Mm.
challenges, etc. But where's that work ethic to go, I'm on this stage and I've done everything. I'd love to see more of that. I'm sure you'll agree.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I have an opinion on that as well. I mean, like you say, even from first timers to seasoned competitors, even for me this past season, I mean, getting to that level of condition where you've got to try and get to a certain level of condition, um, isn't easy. It's not for the faint of heart. Most people will know. Some people have yet to experience it. And I won't sit here and criticize anybody that doesn't make it to stage. I won't sit here and say, like most people do, oh, you're a pussy. How did you not get it? Man up. What's up with you? I don't like that, because then we're judging that person, and you don't know what they've got going on in the background. Full-time work, families, children, mental health. There's a lot to take into consideration, and just to say something, oh, you didn't have it in you. You're a wimp. You couldn't hack it. You couldn't hack the diet. Da, da, da. Everyone's different. So, and some people, and for the health as well, if they're struggling and the health is off, then that's a completely different conversation. Health is first, always first and foremost. So, not making it to stage, I will never criticize, because I understand. I know how it feels. So maybe reevaluate if you don't, and then now you know how that feels in the prep, and come back the next time, because now you've got a feel for it and you go, right, I know what this takes. So I need to get my ducks in order. So once my ducks are in a row, now I know, without that I can get rid of that stress, because this is not going to be fun. It's not easy. If everything in your life is not solid and structured, then don't prep because it'll test you to the nth degree, as we know. So you need that good support system and you need to be in a good routine. Yeah, so be prepared. That's the probably. And if you do make it to stage, I'll stand there at your athletes meeting and tell you, fair play for being here. You're very much appreciated because you made it, whereas thousands didn't.
Yeah, and we do forget that, and that's what I believe, as a really good angle to what I'm saying there with if you have that in your mind that you need to pour everything into it, it's gonna have that knock-on effect to people being more ready to do it, for people to understand that they need to, rather than this like, oh, I'm just gonna sort of do my prep. I'd like to see more of this, like, this is what a prep really is. Let's
Mm.
take you there when the time is right. Because then you're building that athlete mentality rather than it,
Yeah.
oh, prep's a walk in the park, as it were.
This
Because
this is what I don't again, I think Instagram is very, very toxic for that. We compare ourselves constantly, which is a mistake in my opinion. And we all do it, seasoned, we all do it or not. And I think you can get carried away with it sometimes when there's people on Instagram post shows you classic example. Oh, I've not had an off-plan meal. I've gone straight into eating clean again, and stick to the plan. And well, great if that's what works for you. That's great. But a lot of people have denied themselves food, anything treat-wise, family time for months and months and months and months. And if they go off plan for a week or whatever, and they're just really struggling, that's not a criticism on them. That's just the way they've dealt with it. They'll learn from that as they go forward. But it doesn't make you a better person because you haven't done that. So again, don't judge people for what they do because everyone is different. And then you look at this on Instagram and you think, oh, I'm doing this wrong and I feel really guilty. I shouldn't be doing that because that person's not doing it. They're not doing it. It's not about them. It's about you. So that's a learning curve and comparison is a theft of joy, isn't it? So we should just always, my opinion with anything, is stay in your lane. Don't look what anyone else is doing because it doesn't matter, especially when you're on prep going for a show. Oh, look at my competitors, what do they look like compared to me? It doesn't matter.
yeah.
Trust me, because someone that looks good on Instagram, they get on stage. I've seen it for judging thousands of shows. They don't look the same.
Mm.
Someone that looks something like backstage doesn't look the same when they walk 50 meters to get on stage. They don't look the same. So you can't judge and compare to other people. And it's difficult because it's the sport we're in, but
Mm.
yeah, that's what I feel in my opinion on those sorts of things. People should just get their head down, crack on, and not be looking at anything else or anybody else. Just do your own thing.
Yeah, because
It's important.
if we have these knock like conversations like this, it's facilitating more of that. Like, we are an athlete doing this for ourselves, and this is what it does take. This is what it looks like. This is the framework, of course, as we say, till you're there. It's hard to say in words, as it were, but. If we're able to actually have a ripple effect in the community, because yes, we enjoy it, but it's not a normal thing to take your body through this. It's not a normal.
No, it's not. And it's not particularly healthy. People forget that.
Oh, it's
Even
not.
natural bodybuilding, okay, you're not assisted, but it's still not healthy because
Yeah,
you're taking your body to dangerously low body fat levels, male or female, most of the time in most of the classes.
yeah. The
So
injuries, of course, and we've both been natural for years before going assisted ourselves. So we understand, with natural bodybuilding, we're not here going, it's the assisted route or not. But with the natural side of things, my test levels were tanked. I know multiple males that, they might actually go down the assisted route just to go on TRT because they've done multiple preps and the test
mm,
levels are so low that they're just not good. There's fertility. There's a whole realm,
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
and it is a consideration again.
It is, and a lot of natural athletes, especially of a certain age, over like 35 onwards, when they get the bloods back, the levels, male and female. I mean, Nick had her bloods done, and her progesterone and testosterone was all over the place, and she felt terrible. So she ended up going to the clinics for TRT therapy. But then she was worried about, can I compete naturally still? Because this is a health concern. Luckily, yes, she can, but she hasn't done obviously since that was diagnosed. But just day to day of how you feel changes your entire life. Now she feels amazing, whereas before she was like, I didn't realize how I should be feeling. And it's important for everyone to get bloods done, assisted or natural, to see where you're at. Because when it comes to the UKDFBA as well, if you've got a doctor's note saying, yeah, you're on TRT and it is actual TRT, and you send me that medical documentation to say that, then that's not an issue. You can still compete with us. Obviously, you can't do your own. That's a whole different
Yeah,
ball game, isn't
I
it?
got it from a lab.
Yeah, I got it from a lab. Yeah, but that's no issue. But again, it is a health thing, and I think going forwards, it needs to be made more aware of that. People should be more concerned with getting the bloods done, and just seeing where they're at, pre-show, post-show, before prep. And then you'll know if something's off anyway. Like I say, it's not the healthiest sport in the world as it is. I mean, those things weren't available to me. I'm old school from back in the day, obviously. But I mean, this year was that was my 30th show a couple of weeks ago. And that was my bowing out show. We all say never, but I've got different priorities with running this UKDFBA now, and this is something that excites me more than competing for myself. Um, Even though the season went really well, I think that's important as well for the federation, for the athletes, because it shows that, okay, I'm the president, I'm the owner, and I'm now running it. People will say, he actually does it as well. He's been there. He stood there weeks ago. He stood there last year. He's a pro. He knows what we want. He's experienced the highs and the lows and everything in between. He's been competing 30 years. I mean, I'm 32 years into training now. It's crazy. This is my 32nd year of training. Yeah. So for athletes, I'd like to think they think fair play. You're still in the game. You can't get someone better to be in that hot seat that knows what we want and will listen to us and take it on board and feedback and do things that we want. Because I want the same thing as being a competitive athlete. It does help that, I feel. I mean, I don't speak about my situation or my history or my past on social media because I'm very much keep myself to myself type of thing. But people that know me know my story from competitively anyway, which you were going to touch on, weren't we? Um, I started training when I was 16-year-old in my bedroom, 15-year-old when I was in school, like the old weights kit that your dad gets you. And then he took me to when I was 16, he took me to the gym with him, which was Latham's gym, which was a really popular, well-known gym from back in the day. They were one of the EFBB representations that the Latham's Gym Classics across the country, and you qualify for the EFBB finals, which was like UKBFF. It used to be called the EFBB. So yeah, um, my first show was 1996 as a 20-year-old, just turned 20 junior.
Was it?
Yeah, if you scroll through Instagram, you'll see my picture down there somewhere. And I was supposed to enter the juniors and ended up being put into the novice class because I would have turned 21 before the finals the month before, so they wouldn't let me compete in it. So I had to jump in with the men at 20 years old, and it frightened me to death.
Bloody hell.
So I understand the nerves and the experience of doing your first show because I nearly went home backstage when I saw the rest of the guys that were around me. It was very frightening as a young lad. And
Yeah.
it was the MPA now, but it was the A and B back then, the natural A and B show. But there was a eight in the novice class, and then I ended up coming fourth anyway,
Nice.
which I was really happy with that. And then I competed again in the same show the year later, 97 in the A and B natural, still obvious course. And then I took a 10-year break because life, carried on training and everything like that. But then took 10 years off and come back in 2007, decided to compete again in the BMBF, qualify up this way, up in the north. Came third in that in the novice. Was it the novice category? Yeah, in the novices. And then went to the British and won the British by default because the guy that won shouldn't have been in the show. He wasn't a novice and he wasn't a UK citizen. He'd lied and then he
Oh,
didn't pass his drug test.
okay.
So that second was taken away from me, but default British champion. And then I did like a few more BMBF shows, 2008, 2010. And then I felt I'd hit my potential. But I probably hadn't done naturally, but I just felt like I was getting a little bit older and wanted to try something different. So I ended up going assisted at that point. Very, very minor. Didn't know. Obviously spoke to the gym owners and stuff like back then. It was John Hodgson. He was old school, he mentored me a little bit regarding that side of things. And yeah, I went into the UK BFF, who had the pro card back then. And it was the very, very first year of actual classic before the MPA and IFBB had classic. And I ended up winning my qualifiers, then coming third in the British first time out. Um, so then I went on from there, yeah, basically into the intermediates in 2014. I've always placed top two and qualified for the British in every show. 2017, I won all five qualifiers as a class one bodybuilder in NABA, IBFA, PCA, won the overalls, placed top three in the PCA British class one back then, top six in the NABA Britain, and then 2019 won the PCA British, as a master's in the 40s.
Mhm.
Um, that's just touching on some of them. Yeah, 2021 went to the NPC Classic class. 2023 went to the NPC Classic, went to Milan to try and win my pro card, came second out of eight, very, very close. I thought I'd done and retired, but I'd grown. I thought I'd grown the last few years, even though I'm like late 40s. So I thought, let's give it another go. Let's step on the stage this year, turn 50 in August, and won everything. Yeah. UK title, yeah. World title, and got my pro card. Then came fourth in the pro class out of nine. So I
Oh,
was happy with that. So that's a snippet. But that's why, regarding the UKDFBA, people might say, oh, he's the assisted, but they say assisted, but they forget there's levels to being assisted, isn't there?
yes.
And 90% of my off season, unless I'm in prep, is just TRT. It's a healthy range of TRT. Anyone that knows me knows that. So
Actual
it's
TRT
only in, yeah, actual
as
TRT, not
well.
sports TRT. So it's only in prep where you have to go a little bit more.
Yeah.
But 90% of the season or 90% of the time, I'm just TRT, which is
Nice.
just a healthy range. It's not like I'm sat there drugged out of my gills. That's not the case whatsoever. Far, far from it. And it's important for people to know that as well. So my experience in natural bodybuilding is 30, more than 30 years. So that's where I get my experience of natural bodybuilding, natural bodybuilders and natural shows, as
Mhm.
well as the last 15 years of being a massive part and Lee's right-hand man and running the UKDFBA and been in that judges chair for the past 15 years. I've judged thousands of thousands of thousands of athletes nationally and internationally at the top levels, So, and I also head judge the Danish championships every year, head judge that. So it's not just this country. I travel. So they're in good hands. They are in good hands.
Yeah,
And like I said to you before, when it comes to judging, I think people always want to know about that. They're not just, oh, you turn pro in our federation, so you can be a judge if you want. Well, okay. But with me and our judges, I'll handpick who I want from what I know about them and their experience and what I see. And then I'll invite you to the show to be a shadow judge. And it takes a whole season of shadow judging on the table with me and my team. And I'll check your scores for every single class you do, for every show you do. And if they're not up to the level that I feel that they should be up to, then you don't come back and you don't pass. But if they do, that's how you pass the qualification for being a judge with us. It's not just, oh, you turn pro, so you're a pro now, so you can judge. Doesn't mean you can judge. There's people on our panel that are like superb judges that haven't even competed.
yeah.
So it doesn't make you a great judge just because you compete on steps on stage at a high level. And I've seen it myself. Oh, that person should win. Wow, I'm glad you're not judging. Yeah. And this is from pros.
I know, yeah, it's
So you have to have the eye for it. It's not, you can't teach it sometimes. So, and all our judges have that background. They're all 10 years plus, in the game more than that. Um, and again, that's a post, as we know, that's going to go out,
yeah, yeah.
coming in the new year of who the judges are, what experience they've got. All the athletes and all the people involved in the Fed are going to know who the judges are way in advance of the shows so they can see for themselves. So they've got peace of mind of who they're going to be judged by.
Mm,
And it's transparency. I promise that from day one. They're going to get it. I don't go back on my word. And I am going to make the judging sheets available for people to see after the shows. Yeah.
nice.
So you're going to see all of our scores, head judge's score for me, all of the judges that have judged you. And you're going to see where you placed, what points you got, and where you were, including the overalls. And I'm going to post them all on Instagram for everyone to see.
I love that. What a vibe as an athlete. Because, guys, you've heard me say this on the podcast multiple times. That is literally your judge's feedback if you're going to pursue, particularly if you gel with a federation and you decide this is the federation I'd like to take it further with. That's your crib sheet too. If it's the end of your season, your off season, there it is. There it is. You and your
Yeah.
coach. Now, I understand, again, a bit of a grey area. I understand that coaches are going to have their own thought process to, okay, this is what we need to do. However, if you are pursuing a federation and you've got judges' feedback from, like what you've just outlined there, these aren't just people going, oh, here's some copy and paste feedback, which does happen, by the way.
I see that a lot as well.
If you get your feedback within
It,
2 minutes, it's probably copy and
it
paste.
takes time to get your feedback. It takes
Absolutely.
time. You
Yeah.
shouldn't be able to get it quickly. And half the time, that the ones I've seen, I'm not naming any federations in particular, but we probably know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
They give me feedback, and I'm like, and then they come to me, and I've gone, "What are they talking about? That's completely wrong. Where have they got that from?
Mm.
Copy, quick rush it, or copy and paste. I'll just send them something to keep them. It'll shut them up, keep them happy.
Yeah.
Well, no, for me, you're gonna get the judging sheets. You're gonna get a copy of their judging sheet with that are written. Trust me, and you are going to get a video feedback from me, which is going to get sent to Instagram, and it's going to get a link to YouTube of the breakdown of every class in each show from me personally.
Again, this is going to feed into taking it more seriously, you know.
Well, yeah, they want transparency. You'll get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see if other associations pick up on it,
Mm,
and if
mm.
they do, fair play. But guess where who started it?
Well, and it's we're trying to again, we're trying to increase the standard for this to be the pursuit that it always was when we started out, you know. You remember the days where you'd have one chance to
Yep,
qualify for the, being able to do the finals, etc. You get one pro card awarded a year, like
one
obviously,
pro card.
yeah, but it's
Mm.
like, there's a reason for that because it was the, whoa, if you're a competitive bodybuilder this is your whole life. Now I know there's balance, there's off season, there's different phases, there's stuff going on, etc., etc. But generally speaking, I'd love to see that, the actual embodiment of I'm a competitive bodybuilder and having a federation like yourself where you're up in the game, it helps it become more that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm very willing to take on board any feedback from anybody. If they want to see something, then ask me the question. Tell me it might not be able to be done.
Mm.
But guess what? I won't ignore you. I'll tell you the reasons why it can or can't be done and the reasons why we are or aren't doing it. Because you know what? It's like every athlete wants. I've had people asking me, are you going to have a Grandmasters bikini figure class, bodybuilding class? I'm like, well, we can't have all the classes. That's not, you've got to think logically. We'll be there
Yeah,
forever.
yeah.
And it's numbers as well. If numbers and the demand for it isn't out there, then I'm not going to put on a class where one person turns up or maybe two. It's just not feasible. So you've got to, where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the classes that haven't had people in them that aren't popular, then I'm going to cut them. So certain classes in 26 won't exist,
Mhm.
but they won't exist for a reason. It's not just because I don't like them. It doesn't matter what I do and don't like. It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about the athletes and what they want to do.
Mm.
But I also know if people do or don't enjoy those classes, or if they've got low numbers. So if it's not feasible, they're not going to be put on, and those people come to another class.
Mm, mm, mm.
I think that's the best thing. It's the way forward, really.
Yeah, because it's also as well, like you touched on with the website. Now I know in the space sometimes it can be very confusing for
Yeah,
people that are competing and guys listening. I know multiple people that it on the website it says these are the mandatories as an example, and they turn up and the mandatories have changed on the day, and you've learnt them for your whole prep.
yeah, I
Little things
know.
like that. We need to understand the criteria, the posing, what's expected more. So if you're doing that also, I know other federations do, but that's great to know as well.
I think a lot of the time as well, I found in the past, and even more so now, I've taken over, is people asking questions without reading the Instagram post
Yes.
or the current website, which has got the rules on it. It tells you, and it's like I'm like, oh, can this? I'm like, it's on the post. It's on the UKDFBA Instagram post. You've not read it, and it tells you there. The question is already answered. You don't need to ask me. And
Mm,
it's the same question two or three times. I'm like, come on, just help me out here. Make a little bit of an effort. All you got to do is read the post.
mm,
It's
mm,
very, very simple.
mm.
But again, people just they're like, as a generation, we're lazy, aren't we?
I know,
So,
yeah, there is. I remember, I don't know if you're the same, but well, I've always done it, but from the start, it would be like I'd be on that website, I'd be memorizing it. Like I'm like, this is
yeah,
what they want, so this is what I need to do. And also you are a posing coach. This would be something to touch on also with the elements of now, guys, I beat this drum all the time. Posing is, if not one of the most important things, obviously nutrition training, etc.
yeah,
However, if you're not and this is an extension because you're a posing coach, you're a president of a federation. You you're mastering your physique by being able to master the art of posing, being able to show the judges, etc. but also it's being able to build the posing fitness, the stage presence.
Oh, it's so important.
There's so much to it, and why
Yeah.
is it skimmed over still
I
at some?
don't, well, I don't know. And it really is. I think it's people look at it as in, oh, it's not important. I'm not, and I'm certainly not paying for a posing class or to be taught. Well, well, that's, trust me, as judge, it shows that you've not learned and it shows that you've not practiced.
Yeah,
I can spot it a mile off. And last season, it was evident because I had, from off even the top of my head, there was three, two definitely ones that were second, and they would have won.
love that.
They would have won. But and I didn't mark anyone down, and neither did my team. But when you're posing from the back and you can't open your back, how can I judge that pose?
You can't
So
see.
there's two poses there that you've lost on. Front lat spread's probably a third, so the other person won. And someone came fourth that should have been second, didn't open up. So you'd have been second if you presented yourself because I know what your physique's like, and you were fourth. And it's like I can't keep telling you and reiterate this enough. You need to practice. You need to reach out. You need to speak to someone, a posing coach. And the posing coaches also are guilty of this. They need to read the rules of the federation that they're teaching, and they don't. Because I'll give you a classic example is the bikini class. It's the biggest one ever. They're using the wrong leg to pose, and it stays on the side which leg, and your quarter turns, and then you're doing the opposite one because the posing teachers and the coaches have taught them wrong. And it's like, no, did you read the rules? Did you read the criteria? No.
Paid
Right.
opposing.
Well, who's that's not my fault.
Yeah.
That's you take some responsibility for yourself as well. Like classic is now height and weight
Mm.
for us, you know, because we got like an influx of classic guys. It's a popular thing to do, and the bodybuilding suffered. But half of the classic class were actual bodybuilders. They weren't classic because it's shape and structure. They don't like being told that, but who does? So
Yeah.
they like having a bit of a sulk. But they didn't place because you're a bodybuilder, mate. You shouldn't have entered classic. You should have entered bodybuilding. But I like classic. Well, that's great. I like to like do my hair in the morning, but it's not happening, is it?
Yeah, he's
You know
bald,
what I
by
mean?
the way, if you're not listening. If you're
Yeah. So yeah, I like to look like Brad Pitt in Troy, but it's never going to happen. So you make do with what you've got. You know, round hole, square peg doesn't work. So go to the class that you fit. So now we've put the height and weight in to try and get more classic guys into the right class. And again, the problem with classic is people love it and oh, I'm a classic bodybuilder. You're not, you just fit the weight. Doesn't make you classic. Classic is shape and structure. It's not about you making a weight. So that's really important for people to realize it. And the coach should say, well, you're not actually classic, you're more bodybuilding, so go into bodybuilding. That's the coach's job as well. If you're paying someone, that's their job to do that. You
absolutely.
know, and then people enter classic, don't make weight, the miles off. And I'll say, how did you not make weight? I didn't know I had to. What do you mean you didn't know? It's on the website. Oh, I didn't read it.
What about your welcome email?
Yeah, exactly. But people don't read the things and they don't do the research themselves, you know, and it's people, athletes also need to take responsibility for themselves as well.
100%.
Very
This,
important.
yeah, because also, and I've done it in the past. I've had two different coaches. I've gone to them and say, I've seen this on the website. Actually, that's different to what you said. I'm not trying to, I'm
No,
not
no, I'm just telling you because they might not know.
Yeah, and there
Yeah.
might have been an update or whatever. But also I feel like, the ownership too, things like your posing, absolutely, and I spoke about this recently on a pod, the depths of prep are bloody savage, as we've spoken about.
Yeah, and that you're going to say it's not the time to start learning to pose, aren't you?
Well, yeah, and
Yeah,
also make the time.
yeah. It's
And
so
do
hard
this
when you're
throughout.
tired and you're not sleeping and you're training and you're cardioing. The last thing I understand, you don't want to be doing posing for 10, 15, 20 minutes after you're
Yeah,
training all in the morning. You're knackered.
yeah.
But that's why it's important to do it now in the off season, on that season before you're going into that show. Because doing an hour Stairmaster and doing an hour's training is not the same as doing 15 minutes on stage posing under bright lights.
Actual posing as well, guys. So I got taught this from the start. If you're tired, you're fatigued, etc. I always promote this. You still switch it on when you're practicing because if you do lazy practice, guess what? The habits build into you as
Yeah,
lazy posing. It doesn't just you don't turn up on the day and everything comes together because you've done a bit of half-assed practice. And I'm
yeah,
not being a dickhead. It's true, guys. You're pouring your whole life into a prep here. We need to take this seriously.
Yeah, it's muscle memory that. If you're posing badly, thinking, "Oh, don't mind now, doesn't matter. I'll change it when I go on stage." You won't because it's muscle memory. It's ingrained in you. You'll do the same thing, and then they come to me beforehand after doing their own shitty posing, and I've got to then knock that out of you because the muscle memory's gone in and retrain your brain, and it takes time. And they think they can just have one session. It's like, no, it's not just one session. This is going to take some time now to present your best.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and like last season, I had four, I think it was four of my clients all won Best Presentation Awards at some of their shows, you know, and you can tell the ones that have made the effort and the ones that haven't, it stands out a mile. Yeah. And they're not struggling on stage. They're really smooth and they're not breathing out their ass and blowing or bending over. They're still at the stage really professional. And it does make a huge difference. It really does. It's a
Yeah.
big factor in like competing and people need to realize that as well, you know.
And a bit like coaching anyway, I believe my best I feel like some of my best lessons as a bodybuilder early on was going to posing coaches like your Helen Panthers, the ones that you turn up and they go, "You're doing it all wrong. Start
Mm.
from the bottom. I've told you to do this, do this." There was
Yeah.
no fucking around, Christian. Yes, I cried
No,
all the way home. I cried
that's
all
the
the way
way it
home.
should be.
But I learned the brutality of the posing. And guess what, guys? The next time you're turning up for a posing lesson, they're going to rip you to shreds if you haven't done the practice. And this is what I mean by it's so important. And now I've had that opportunity early on. And yes, it was fucking so hard to take that critique.
Mm.
But I learned early on that I can't fuck around with the posing, right?
And this is the thing, and it's the same with posing as it is with feedback that people ask you for that.
Yes.
When you're on stage and you might not get the result you want, I've seen people cry at the side of the stage. If you want to know, you speak to me. The DM for the UKDFBA page is now open because I'm running it. You can DM me, I'll answer your question. A lot of the time, or I'm not saying a lot of time, it's not true, but you may not like what I say. But I've put this on a post before, you probably saw it. I give you feedback and I tell you how it is and I tell you the truth. It may come across harsh sometimes. I try not to be, but I'm very blunt in the way I am, um, in a good way
For the athlete.
for the athlete. And what I'm doing is for your benefit. It's not for my benefit. Why would I care if you can pose or don't pose? Why should I give a shit? You've entered my show. I don't give a shit what you look like. I don't give a shit how you pose. I'm just going to judge you and tell you to off your pot, mate. You didn't play. See you later. Off with your little medal. I don't give a fuck. I do give a fuck. I do care. I care how you look. I care how you pose. I care how your day is. I want it to be the best experience of your life. I don't want you going home upset, pissed off, or angry. So I'm here to help all the time before the show, at the show, after the show. But again, I'll say this, but you know, know your audience. Don't come and ask me when I've got a 15-minute break in between a show to have something to eat for feedback. Because that's my time for 15 minutes. I might
Mate,
need to go for it.
you can do
If
that.
I yeah, if you oh you got a 15-minute break interval, I might need to eat. I need to get up to go for a pee, which is walking through to the back of the. Don't stop me. Can I have some feedback, mate? I've got 15 minutes.
Yeah, you
Have a
need.
think.
Yeah.
Just wait. There's plenty of time. You know.
Yeah.
But I understand we're excitable. We're athletes. We want to know. We want to know there and then. But you know, have just bear it in mind that I've had a 15-hour day so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's judging is wild. Like I sort of forget while I'm doing it, so I'm so engrossed. I write, and I don't see other judges do this at the federations I've judged for, but I write extensive notes, like just in case someone DMs me and says, "Can I have feedback?" So I'll write the note, and then I'm so engrossed. I stay behind if they need feedback depending on the time it finishes. And I get home and I'm like,
Well, I say this, and like you said just then, my judges know, and I were the same. Like with me and Chrissy have this conversation all the time. We'll go home, and then for 2 days late after, it's like you're hungover.
it's like post show.
It's horrible because you've been sat in that chair for over 12 hours judging, and I am intense, switched on at all times, professional. And my guys and girls, I expect them to be the same. And if I turn to my left or turn to my right at any point and they're not switched on, I'll have a word.
Love it.
Oi, phone away.
Yes.
There's no phones at the table.
Yes.
This is not the time. This is athlete focus.
I love
Yeah, I don't want you chatting too much about random stuff. You're not doing it. We've got a job to do.
it.
Yeah, you're being paid to do a job,
Mhm.
so do it. We're there to have fun. Of course we are. We're also there to do a job.
Yeah. You
And
meet
that's the
some of
way
your
that's
best
the way it's
friends.
going to be.
Yeah, and it is. You meet some of your like sort of bestest good friends as you're on the scene. Like you're saying, you're sort of potentially retired from the competitive side, but you're doing this and pursuing this. You're still in the game. We've
Yeah.
got all of these people, but I cannot rate that enough, Christian. And guys,
Yeah.
if you're just getting into the sport and maybe you haven't experienced this, when you are on stage, and I've held this multiple times across the world, not just in the UK, competing, and you look and the judges are on their phone or they're not even
Yeah. They're
you,
not looking at you,
it
or they're just talking
kills
to each
you.
other. Even during your even during your posing routines, I know we don't score posing 9 times out of 10 in most classes, but I enjoy the posing routines and I want to see someone pose well. And I don't want my judges texting or on Instagram or chatting to each other. Oi, athlete, athlete.
Yeah.
I don't want, as an athlete, I don't want to look down during my stage time when I've competed and see the judges talking to each other or just writing down or drawing noughts and crosses on the fucking piece of paper. Look at me. I'm here to do a routine for you or to compose, So let's give them what they deserve. Give them the attention. That's what they're paid to be here for. It's their day. We
Mm.
can talk and have a laugh and chew the fat at the breaks and interval and afterwards at the meal the night before, the meal after. But during the stage time for the athletes, switch it on. We're professionals. Let's act like it. And that's what you're going to get.
And then you're going to get the respect from the athletes. The athletes are going to want to come back.
Absolutely.
And that all builds and it has this ripple effect. I wish I could have competed with you at the start because my mum, the first time she saw someone on the phone, she was like, I'm not having it. I was like, Mum, please don't say anything, Mum. This is
No,
UK BFF. Just do not do not
no,
approach.
no, leave them alone. They'll hate me. They'll know who I am.
Yeah, but it's so important to talk about these things because we do get, of course, people listening that are going to be just starting out, or even, again, Christian, you said it right near the start. I'll always beat this drum, as it were. You do not have to compete to validate what you're doing, guys. You might be, someone starting as a bodybuilder. Now, if you then look to compete, having federations like yourself available, again, I'm not just blowing smoke. There's proof in the pudding, right? Excuse the pun, but you're going to see what's going to happen with the federation, and that's why I'm strong about the passion behind helping as much as I can with what you're doing. But it's like listening to conversations like this. Again, this is to help you. This is for you to step on stage and actually feel like you know what you're doing. You
It
know
is.
about
It is. And
bodybuilding.
you know yourself on show day, even if you're a first timer or a novice or you're a seasoned competitor, it can be overwhelming.
Absolutely.
And the nerves are there, and I don't care who you are. You might be 20 shows deep and then took 2 years off or 3 years off and coming back. Those nerves are going to return no matter what. We're human beings. And what you don't want when you're on stage is to feel those nerves. And especially for you women in heels, if you like tipple or you fall over or you don't get your feet, guess what? It doesn't matter. You're not going to be told off on stage. I understand. I understand this. So take your time, calm down, relax. If I need to tell you that, then I'll tell you. You'll get plenty of stage time, plenty of comparisons, plenty of time to do what you need to do up there. I will hand on heart say this, and I've been to many shows, and I don't care. My backstage team are the best backstage team I've ever seen, and the feedback I get from them, from athletes, to say that is proof. They are so friendly, so helpful, and they will go above and beyond. As are the tanning team, Nicola, A1. They'll make sure they'll be at the side of the stage while you're on stage. If you start sweating, I will say, number 8, just head off, go to the side of the stage, get a towel down. They'll come back out. I'll give you that opportunity. You don't need to worry about that sort of thing. They'll put you at ease backstage. They'll make sure you're where you need to be in plenty of time as well. Those are the little things that help put you at ease and help you to know where you need to be when you need to be there. That's what we want from an association. That's how the Fed should be run. And that's what you're going to get at every single show, you know?
As well because it is you are obviously prep brain's a thing, right? And
Of course it is, yeah.
guys, we do
Yeah.
stupid shit when we're at this point, like when it's like they're calling an athlete and they're like, "Where are you?" And the
I
athlete
know.
gone for
Athletes miss the class. They miss the class. It's crazy, But what I will say, and I'm not going to say all my athletes are going to watch this podcast, but they may switch on. You never know. But and this is something I'll discuss nearer the time, of course, because we're still like 5 months away. Um, Everyone should, and if you and I would be, if there's an athletes meeting and it says be there at 10 a.m., be at the athletes meeting at 10 a.m. because you're going to miss information that you need to know. And again, that's your responsibility. That's not my fault. You missed, well, I wasn't here. Okay, well, how's that my problem? That's me being blunt. I won't say that, but in my head's saying, well, how the fuck's that my problem?
You
You're an
can't.
adult. Look after yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem.
Mm.
But that's, certain things you need to take responsibility for. Check-ins 10 to 11. I turned up at 10 past 11. Well, where were you? You've
Oh,
had over an hour, you know? I won't, you're not going to get turned away
yeah,
at all,
yeah, yeah,
but still don't take the piss because
yeah.
that shows me that you don't really give a shit.
And this is
But
it.
if you don't give a shit, why should me and my judges give a shit about you competing on stage?
Yeah, it's
We,
true.
we will never not, and we'll never mark you down.
Mm.
There might be athletes competing on stage, trust me, there is, who I've not liked
Yeah,
at all.
yeah, yeah.
But guess what? They got judged fairly in where they should have been because I'm not here to judge them as a person. I'm here to judge what's from here down.
Mhm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the thing as well, isn't it? Is also, and I'm gonna ask you a question before we wrap up. However, just to touch on, there's always people watching, guys, and there's always, if you're pursuing a federation or even just getting into the game, and maybe you compete with the UKDFBA and then you go with a different natural federation, fine. But remember, impressions count. You're being watched by someone all the time, whether that's
Yeah.
social media, whether that's at shows. So comprising yourself as an athlete, it does count. And when you get to points like you and I, you're pursuing what you're doing, I'm pursuing the podcast, like we're doing things in the space, even though we're, not competing at this, well, you've just literally finished the season. However, your steps moving forward, these opportunities come to you when you might, come out the space or have a bit of time out or whatever, because you're building a profile from the moment you start this journey. So remember that. Now, this might feed into the question I'm going to ask you, but I want to ask you if you could go all the way back to the start of your bodybuilding journey, is there any sort of anecdotal advice or something you would give to anyone listening that's just starting out, other than obviously comparing yourself to others and the things we've touched on? Anything else that stands out?
Oh, Christ, that's a question.
No.
I think it's different back then to what it is now because there's a lot more information available to people regarding bodybuilding, how you should eat, how you should train, all that sort of thing. And back then when I started, there was no social media, there was no YouTube, there was nothing. You just copied the big guy in the gym or asked their advice. These are the days where when the Mr. Olympia was on, you didn't know who'd won unless you waited like 6 weeks for the magazine to come out. And people will laugh at this if they're listening, but trust me, what we used to do back in the day was the day after the Mr. Olympia, we'd go in the gym and the gym would have it on the wall, the top 10, sometimes they'd write it down, or sometimes they didn't. So what you used to do when you were at home, you'd use the house phone, you get the magazines, and I did this all the time. People will laugh. You'd ring Flex magazine because you could ring them then, and they'd answer the offices. Hey, can I have the Mr. Olympia results, please?
Oh
And they'd
my
tell
God,
you,
I love that.
yeah. So I'd write it down first, second, third, and then take it to the gym. There they are. Put them on the wall. You'd have to ring up to find out who won.
I love that.
And then 6 weeks later, you get to see the pictures when they come out in the Flex magazine. Maybe 2 months later, because they were a month behind with the magazine. That's what I'm talking about. So I wouldn't change anything because the 90s, when I started, was amazing. It was a small little niche sport. And there was no pictures, tripods, none of that phones in the gym. You just got in there, you trained hard as fuck, and then you went home. That's what you did. I had, tuna sandwiches from the shop next to the gym, on white bread, going home, sat on the bus. That was what you did. You
It's
go
the
to the
milk.
Yeah, you go to the chicken shop and get 20 chicken wings, Chinese chicken wings, bulking. So I think things would change. If I could do it again, I'd learn a lot more about diet because we winged it for so many years. That's what we used to do. You just eat anything and everything in sight, whereas now obviously you've got to be a bit more careful. Yeah, so it's a completely different generation, but it was more fun back then. The gyms were old hardcore gyms. Everyone helped and everyone was friendly with each other.
Maybe
You
that
know.
is the advice, to have fun with it and be a bit more.
Yeah, don't take. I think people take it far too serious. Even like, and I see they're doing these young ones even more so. Whereas you've got to enjoy life as well. It's a hobby, so it's an add-on to your life. It's not your entire life. It's just it's a hobby like anything else, and it's just a very fucking hard one. Of course it is,
Expensive
but
as well.
it never used to be, but it's very
I know.
expensive as well. I know. So yeah, I mean, don't make it everything, and don't sacrifice people, friends, family for it. That's what I would say. And if you find someone that will support you with it, and you want to take to that degree, then yeah, that's amazing. Keep hold of it. You know. So that's probably the advice I can give. I mean, even now to this day, and when it comes to my off season, as we say, I'm 80/20. If I want something, I'll have it.
Mm.
I'm not the guy that's eating 6 meals a day, meticulous macros, never miss a beat, get all this, da, 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 da. Because luckily for me, my genetics are pretty good.
Yeah.
So I can get away with doing what I do and then focusing on prep, knuckling down,
Mhm.
coming out, and then boom, win, boom, win, boom, win. But not everyone can, I understand that. And that's not anything, that's not an ego thing. It's not me saying I'm the best, I'm amazing, because that's not the case at all. But it doesn't mean you've got to be like fully on it all the time. Oh my God. And then I've missed a meal. I can't go to Blackpool for a day out with the missus and walk around because I can't have a donut. No, I can't have one on the pier. I can't do that. I've got to take my Tupperware. I can't go to the zoo. And what do you mean? No, no, fucking hell. Get a grip. You can sometimes do these things and enjoy life too. You don't have to, people worry themselves to death. Go away for a few nights, go away for a few weeks. Don't take your food with you. Go and enjoy yourself. You're not going to lose any muscle in 3, 4, 5 days, even a week on holiday. You're on holiday on all inclusive. Enjoy it. You're going to be maybe doing a bit of training. You're going to get loads of steps in. So you're going to be swimming.
Yeah. I
Enjoy
love
your
it.
week.
It's like you get to have some nice food. And the thing is,
Yeah,
just the all inclusive, you haven't got to cook, you haven't got to wash up.
exactly. Oh, I stuck to my plan best I could. I had like a dessert now and again. Oh, fucking hell, you hero. Just enjoy yourself for once. It's not going to do any harm. You're only going to put on water. You're not going to put on 10 pounds of fat. It's not possible. So yeah, I think just relax into this. This sport can be all consuming. You've got to step back sometimes and go, do you know what? I won't let it do that to me. The best will always still be the best.
Yeah, yeah.
They
And
don't do that.
that's the thing when you speak to people in the, what we class as the Olympians, etc. A lot of them are finding that actually striking this, if we call it balance, I know that's a bit of a funny term in the bodybuilding space, but they do enjoy memories with their wife, their husband. They do get to do things with the kids or friends or whatever. Yes, you've got different camps, and I understand that. But there are more people coming out to say, actually, I do enjoy life more than maybe I've perceived on my social media in the past.
Because, yeah, and trust me, when you get to our age, you look back and think, oh, I wish I'd done things a little bit differently and enjoyed that when I went there with that time with my family or my partner. I wish I'd done that and done that. I wish I'd had that cake. Oh, it's my birthday. I can't have any cake. Are you in prep? No, but there's no but. What do you mean? There's no fucking Uncle No but. Get your cake. What's
So,
up with you, man? If you don't want it, bring it. UKDFBA show. I'll have it.
yeah, I love that.
Trust me.
I love that. I love
If you
that.
want to bring if you want to bring me cake on show day, I'm all for it.
In off season now. Now, guys, if of course you want to speak to Christian about posing, about UKDFBA, about any of the things we've spoken about, I'll put your Instagram handle in the description and I'll put the UKDFBA one in there as well. And of course, I'm excited to see how 2026 goes. And I really appreciate just having this is what the best podcasts are, just having a chat and
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about stuff, you know?
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, all the links to all the products, if anyone wants anything like from the shows, any questions, like I say, just DM me. My account's on there, like, and the UKDFBA one is probably the best one. I do post the same thing on from the UKDFBA a lot of time on my personal one, but that is my personal one for me in my life, 9 times out of 10. The UKDFBA one is strictly UKDFBA only, so that's probably the business one. So I would appreciate that if that's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if someone's reaching out through that one, it's directly related to
Yeah,
Council
of course,
TV.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just keep an eye out for the website because it's coming, and I'll keep posting things. I've got another post every week until Christmas. There's something new coming out, and you know as well as I do, we've got something coming out after Christmas that we've worked on.
Yeah.
Another interesting post to give you guys. So just keep your eyes peeled. It's exciting
For the athletes.
for the athletes.
I love it. Thank you, my friend. I will speak to
Pleasure,
you
always. Thank you.
soon.